Okay, guys, thanks for joining us here in the charts. You tuned into the market-based edition. Fellow competitors speaking. This is a request. We're going over VRTX, VERTEX Pharmaceutical. Thank you for the request. Loyal subscribers, welcome back. If you're new here, consider joining us on this interesting journey. So let's go over the technicals. I found a pattern. I found a resistance line. This video actually has a neutral tone, but more of a bearish tone. And I'm going to explain. So let's dive right into the charts here, shall we? All right, so today's March the 15th, 2021, and the previous close of the stock is going to be $219.65. It closed up approximately 2.4% for the day. All right, a little bit of a post-market. There's nothing going on, just exactly where it closed, 0%. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present to you a parabolic curve. Here it is. That's it. Super simple. Just a parabolic curve, and then it's two arrows, right? So what I've found on this, if I've actually done some technical research that suggests there's a very large bearish divergence, okay, that we're not going to go over on this video. But the one thing that I want to point out to you is this stock is actually very beautiful. Let's just start by saying that it came out back in 1999. It appears at like just below like $5 approximately. And yeah, it's been walking up the stairs. I don't think I've ever seen a much more beautiful stock that's just been perfectly confined in an uptrend. I mean, this is such an undeniable uptrend. It's really nice stock. Thank you for the request again, right? So what I want to go over with you all is let's just zoom in on the parabolic curve. So remember, please stick with me when I say the buyers and the sellers. Don't worry about the numbers for a second. The buyers and the sellers entered this pattern, okay? This is just like a curvature, like a parabolic curve, okay? So remember, the objective or the objection, whichever one, from the buyers is to protect the parabolic curve and not allow the sellers to get the price below the parabolic curve. This little parabolic curve right there, okay? That's the buyer's obligation, is to protect that line. Now, the seller's obligation is to protect the overhead resistance line. This overhead ascending resistance line here, okay? So if ever at some point in the future, the buyers step into a territory where the sellers are trying to protect, it's likely that the price action will experience downward pressure in the market because the buyers are trying to break out into an atmosphere where the sellers are protecting. So in this case right here in March the 1st, 2006 at about $44, the buyer stepped up just above that resistance line, and then it caught some resistance. It made a higher high, and then after that it made a lower high and experienced about, I think this is measured at about a 68% move to the downside, okay? So that was a pretty nasty retracement after the buyers, they stepped up to the plate to make, just try to, give it their best shot and break above that resistance line. And that was not a good idea here in hindsight because the market experienced a 67% move to the downside. But again, I mean, obviously that only presented a buy-in opportunity as long as the price was perfectly confined within this parabolic curve, right? So as we just kind of scroll over in history, hopefully you can agree and say this parabolic curve has been placed pretty strategic. And you notice that there's only just one touch point right here. Let's see, right here in January of 2017 at about $73. Right there, the price came up to that parabolic curve, found support, and I mean, the rest is history. Just continued to walk up the stairs. Very beautiful. I really like this stock as it's walking up the stairs, okay? Now, let's get to this area here where things are starting to get really tight. And I say things are starting to get tight because we've already gone over it, that the buyers, when they step up to the plate and they break above this resistance line, if they're going to do that, they must break above and stay above and use the resistance line as support, because remember, the objection or objective from the buyers is to break above the resistance line to continue the momentum to the upside. But they broke above the resistance line where the sellers have been just kind of hibernating, right? The sellers haven't really had much of any opportunity to make any money in this market because the price has been just walking up the stairs on this parabolic curve. So as the sellers have waken up from hibernation, so to speak, and the buyers poked their little head above this resistance line back in May the 1st, 2020, reaching as high as almost $300. Yeah, it actually did wick above $300 here. The sellers have stepped into this market. Now, here's where the buyers really must understand that if they lose this parabolic curve, things could get pretty interesting to the downside. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and point out the practical level of the previous level of resistance, which can be identified here at about $185. Yes, I am saying that that's possible. In fact, that's my first conservative bearish target. The only thing for me to understand whether or not this bearish scenario is not going to take place is one of two things. The buyers must protect this parabolic curve, and they're getting really close to this curve. Let's say by June the 1st, 2021, we'll know whether or not the buyers have actually stepped into this market. The first thing that I guess the psychological level is at like $200. So that's where the buyers are pretty much stepping in, but I don't want like a million lines on the chart. But it appears that they're trying to protect, and then maybe they're successfully going to protect the $200 level on the chart here. But to prevent any more or prevent a nasty move to the downside, yeah, this market needs to make new highs. It needs to basically bounce off this parabolic curve and make new highs above $300. And I know some say, come on, dude, these patterns are weird, man. This price is always going to go up. It's never going to go down. Please be prepared for downwards pressure. Never say what the markets are not going to do, guys. That will always get you in some really hot water. And that's not you protecting your portfolio. And it's not a smart decision, okay? And I'm not a financial advisor. I can't give you advice. But the only thing that I'll say is if this market does not protect this parabolic curve and it does not make a new high this year, 2021, yeah, this market is setting up for some interesting price action to the downside, okay? So again, by June 2021, let's just say it's below like $200. That's not a good sign. Oh, that's not a good sign. That is not a good sign. I know I said it like 4 times, but please understand, if you are invested in this and you've invested in this back in like 2007, 2008, and you still haven't taken any profits, I would definitely be looking into my portfolio to understand how much of this market or this stock that I actually own, because I don't see why it would be a bad idea to understand whether or not, you know, the profit taking is a good area for you right here near this parabolic curve, because again, it could actually bounce off this parabolic curve as it has done ever since 2004. I don't even know if we said that. All the way back in 2004, the market has been finding support at this parabolic curve. March 2004, all the way back here, like $10. Okay, so when the market has been relying on financial support, if it loses that support, that means things could get pretty interesting to the downside. It's really simple. Whether it's an ascending, let's just say the price action was above this resistance line here, right? An ascending trend line is, as long as the financial support is being injected into the market every time the market comes down to that line, then everything's just fine. But once it loses that line and potentially uses it as resistance, yeah, that's when things take a shift. It's really simple, actually. It's just support, resistance, and patterns. That's it. The price action is in a cuppage or like a parabolic curve with the overhead resistance line, using the parabolic curve as financial support. If it loses that financial support line, the next level will be the previous level of resistance. Super simple, $186. If it breaks down below there, the sellers are just going to say, oh, I think we have an opportunity here to actually make some gains in this market, since we haven't had any time or had an opportunity to make any gains in this market. We're going to like to seize this opportunity right here, right now, and we like to push this price to the downside. This isn't going to take longer than 365 days. You have the levels. $200 is the first psychological level. If that breaks down again by June, expect to see $180 in this market. And if there's no like extreme quick recovery, yeah, the markets are probably going to go down to a conservative $180. That's just, again, I don't want to get all weird and start saying like all lower bearish targets. Let's just take it one step at a time. $200. If that breaks, 187. Ooh, crucial. If that level breaks, remind me down in the comment section. We'll go ahead and give you guys an update. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Leave an appropriate thumb just below the video there if you enjoyed the content. You have the date, June 2021. You have the levels. So I think we're pretty, you know what it must do within 3 to 6 months. I don't think I said that. New highs. It must make new highs. I'm not saying that because I wanted to. I'm saying because for me to understand the story and what must take place next in order to kind of continue reading the chapters in this price action, it must continue the trajectory to the upside, or it is in danger of losing its financial support line, which is the parabolic curve that we've gone over. Thank you for your time, guys. If you're new here, before you go ahead and subscribe with us if we can earn your subscription there. We also cover the alternative markets if you're into Bitcoin and altcoins. So, subscribe, hit the bell. We'll see that information when it's available. And thank you, guys. Thank you for your time. So take care of yourselves, protect your portfolios, execute your strategies. Everything that I just said, just erase it, okay? And execute don't erase it. I mean, just use it, right, as a reference point. But, of course, at the end of the day, you have to execute your strategy, okay? So we're going to talk very soon, and bye for now.